Hello everyone, and welcome back to more Final Fantasy VII. We are at part 22. In the last part, we made our way slightly up a mountain. We're going up north. We're going to the far north, like beyond Canada. But first we're going to talk to this guy, see what's going on. Got a bit of a shorter part today. This is a part that has... we're not going to be really doing much with the main story. We're just going to kind of be making our way to more story. And then the story will kind of hit next part. This entire part is just going to be us kind of traveling up north further, and it's going to end off with a boss, but it's just kind of, it's not a boss for like story reasons, it's just kind of a boss. With this guy here, he helps watch climbers and like guide climbers who might want to climb up the mountain because he lost his brother to falling, and he died. So now he's like, yeah, I'm gonna help you guys and tell you how to do it so you don't die. This is kind of a mini game, kind of not really. It's pretty simple. So basically you're gonna progressively be getting colder as you climb, and then you gotta when you get to a spot that you're not like a ledge that you can stand on, you just have to mash the square button to warm yourself back up. And I think it's pretty easy. I've never gotten to a point where I would like get too cold or anything like that. I don't really even know what happens, honestly. But this is Barrett kind of talking. Like, this place is awesome. This place is purely natural. It's like the complete opposite of Midgar. But at the same time, he doesn't understand why anyone would live here, which he says kind of makes the Shinra seem not that bad for trying to make everything mechanical and, artificial. But then he's like, but I hate the Shinra. So that's, yeah. But yeah, you can change your party members here if you want. I don't bother. Like I said, for the many reasons I've gotten into, I stick with the main party. My main party of Cloud, Barrett, and Yuffie. But yeah, basically you're going to be climbing up. The temperature is going to drop, and then you have to mash the square button to get your temperature back up to decent levels, which is what I'm doing here. Beautiful. And then you keep climbing. I think the warmest you can get is 38. If you're a mashing god, you might be able to get above that, but the warmest I think you can get is 38. That's the warmest I've ever gotten, and then, I'm fine. So, kind of a weird mini game. It's hardly even a mini game. It just kind of is a thing. I guess it's done to kind of spice up the typical exploration random encounter thing that the game's going for. Which I guess that's fine. It's harmless. It's not doing anything. It's not getting in the way. But yeah. So we're just making our way up this good old mountain. And this kind of gives us time to think about the implications we got from last part about how awful snowboarding is. No, about Ifalna, Genova, what happened to Aerith's backstory in general. It's interesting that a lot of Aerith's backstory is actually given after her death. We finally understand how she got into Midgar, how she got involved with the Shinra, and also we got a lot more information on Professor Gast and just who he was, because he's kind of only been mentioned by Hojo occasionally, but Professor Gast is also a very important character to the story of this game. We also got some new enemies in this area, like these bat fuckers. They're nothing special. They go down pretty quick. But yeah. So Genova is the reason the ancients are dead, and also Genova is a threat to the life of the planet itself. So that's pretty threatening stuff, especially since Sephiroth has the blood of Genova in him. So Sephiroth is, trying to... He may or may not be being manipulated by Genova straight up. We don't really know what his goal is. Or like, we know what his goal is, but we don't really know why he's doing this, other than he just kind of went crazy from realizing that he is a monster. But I think it's pretty heavily implied that Sephiroth is being manipulated by Jenova to do these things, to try to destroy the world, because that Jenova's goal when she came here as 2,000 years ago was to, you know, threaten the very life of the planet, and Jenova's still alive, and as long as Jenova's alive, the planet sees that as a threat. So that's why the weapons were created to help counteract that, but the weapons have never been recorded to be used. Like, the weapons have never actually been used before, as far as we know. There's that time added effect happening again that stopped that weird bug thing there. You'll notice in a lot of the battles that I show, I'm going to be using mainly physical attacks, because I could just annihilate all these things with Trine or Aqua Lung, but I'm not, because I'm trying to get Cloud more kills. You might be wondering why I'm not just switching enemy skill to Cloud, and it's mainly just because I don't want to go through all that menuing of like rearranging materia, and also I'm an idiot and I should have done that. That was my pathetic excuse for it. But because I'm trying to get Cloud his next limit break, level 3 limit break, because that would be nice to have. That's a very good limit break. Yeah, like I said, not a ton of story in this part. We're just going to kind of be exploring around these caves and climbing up this mountain, heading up further north to where Sephiroth is, to hopefully, like I said, get the black materia from him before he can get to the so-called Promised Land and use it. Because the Promised Land is the one place that could give him the power to use it. You know, it's a little complicated, but yeah, I think the game does a good job presenting the story in a way that's easy to understand, even if you miss some details. Like I said, Ifalna and Gast's backstory that we saw last part, that's very, very easily missable stuff that you do not have to see that. And there's a few things like that in this game. Very important story bits that you kind of miss out on, including Vincent to this game's main story is a very important character. You'll see why. He mentioned a character named Lucretia, and Lucretia is very important to the story of this game, and you'll see why later. But Vincent is a completely optional party member. You can just not get him. So there's a lot of missable stuff in this story. It's interesting. Most other Final Fantasies aren't really like that. 6 kind of is, but 6 doesn't hide like main story elements from you. 6, a lot of the optional stuff is extra character backstory, not the main story of the game. So that's a little different. Same with Final Fantasy like 9, it does something similar. But 9, for the most part, is much more linear with its storytelling and much more cohesive. Like, you can, if you just do the main quest of 9, you will be able to follow everything that's happening. 7 is not exactly like that. 7, you'll miss some stuff if you aren't doing some of the side stuff or seeing some of the side optional cutscenes and stuff like that. There's a lot to this game story, clearly. It's a long-ass JRPG, so there's a lot here to this story, and a lot that the game doesn't outright say, but it leaves up to implication, which I think is pretty cool. Final Fantasy's always been pretty good about that. The character of VII, his arc, they don't spell it out for you. It does a lot of show, don't tell things, which I think is fantastic. I won't spoil Vivi's arc if you don't know it, but it's one of... Vivi is a fan favorite, and he's one of the, in my opinion, one of the greatest characters ever in a video game. I think he's just fantastic. But a lot of his arc is done through implication. It never outright says his big dilemma in the game, but it's told in such a way that it's still, you can understand what's happening. It's excellent. It's top tier storytelling no matter how you look at it. Even if it is a video game, it's still very, very high quality, top tier storytelling. And you might notice, oh, I love this guy. This is an Ocho. These guys are in a lot of Final Fantasy games, and they are annoying in every single one. They love status ailments, and they love to fucking kill you. But I kill this one pretty fast with Comet, so that's good. But you might notice this part is shorter. Part 19 and parts 19 and 21 were a bit longer. So, and I figured I'd balance it out by a bit of a shorter part, and also I stop at a place right before we're about to get to a bunch of heavy story stuff that's going to be happening in the next part. So I figured I don't really want to get into that. I'm just going to kind of wait until next part to start getting into more of that stuff. And next part's going to be another one of those doozies of a part. End of disc 1 through beginning of disc 2 is when this game likes to drop a lot of bombshells. So, a fair warning, Aerith dying is not the only big plot twist in this game. Just a fair warning. But yeah, we're just making our way along. It's a fun time. I'm starting to cut out, battles of enemies we've already seen and stuff. Now this part's a little interesting. We actually, after I save here, I'm going to go to the floor above, and we're going to be dropping icicles down below to create a path for us to cross so we can keep progressing through this cave. We're almost 15 hours in. Exciting. But anyways, but yeah, so we're going to go up through this cave here, or up through this little trail here. We're going to go up to the area above where we just were. I'm just making sure Cloud didn't get his level 3 limit break. I don't know why I'm checking materia, it's been fine. But, I mean, if you've noticed, I haven't gotten a single game over yet, which I think is pretty impressive. But that'll change once we get to the super bosses. Those are a little trial and error, even with my strategies. But anyway, so we're going to go up here, see these icicles here. We're going to get them to fall over. But first I got a new equipment thing, so I'm kind of adjusting this stuff. Am I taking? Yep, I'm taking that off and that off. We'll use morph later for something. We need, like I said, morph is a materia that we'll need to use to get an item. Basically what morph does is if an enemy's about to die, it does very minimal damage, but if you use morph on them, it will do very minimal damage and then turn them into an item if it kills them. And depending on, you get different items depending on what enemy it is that you use it on. There's a specific enemy we got to use it on to get an item that is going to be really useful for an optional boss. But anyways, we got to fight these icicle guys. They aren't anything hard. The one thing that's annoying is these bats can silence you, which they just did to Yuffie. But thankfully they don't do it to Cloud, and Cloud's gonna use a good old Bahamut here to fucking destroy them. So that's good. And silence means you can't cast magic, summon, or enemy skills. Basically anything that uses MP you can't use when you're silenced. So that's a little irritating, but oh well. Cloud didn't get silenced, so we can fucking destroy them with Bahamut. It's no big deal. I love this summon animation. This is when summon animations start getting real over the top, and it only gets more and more ridiculous from here. That's pretty graphically impressive for PS1, you know? Yeah. And then this thing should be dead. One thing that's kind of annoying here is this death animation takes like fucking 5 years. Dink. Dink. And then it's dead. That's a little irritating, and you gotta to build the path, you gotta kill all 4 of these, or like, yeah, kill all 4 of these things. I'm gonna speed the rest of this up, just to get us through it faster, because you do this, it's the exact same thing 4 times. It doesn't take too long, but you know, just you get the gist. That was also Barrett's level 3 limit break that we just saw sped up there, that satellite beam. We'll see that later too, don't worry. Not later in this part, just we'll for sure see it at some point in the playthrough. Yeah, level 3 limit breaks are typically like very strong screen nukes, or when they start becoming multi-hit, which means that potentially multi-hit moves, the max damage you can do in this game is 9,999, but some moves can hit multiple times, so sometimes you can break that 9999 damage barrier in one turn because the move hits multiple times. So sometimes a move say a move hits for 9999, but it hits 3 times, and that just did 27,000 damage, around that, or nearly 30,000 actually damage. So that's pretty good. Multi-hit attacks, and the ultimate summon in the game, I believe, hits 13 times, and it's a strong ass. It's like gonna do at least like 5,000 to hit, probably more, but minimum I've seen it hit is like 5,000. That's with low stats, so that's the win button basically for pretty much everything except optional bosses. So if you get it early, like I'm gonna show you a way to get it earlier than you're intended to. Just try not to spam it. Try to actually play the game, and I'm gonna try to do the same thing here and not just spam it for like every fight, because it gets a little lame, but you know, it's a nice option to have. But yeah, anyways, we're just going up through these icicle things here. We built the path for ourselves. It's a fun time, and we're just going to keep making our way through this path. I got into a battle the first step I took in this outdoor area, and also Cloud and Barret have both broken 3,000 HP because their HP plus materia is leveled up. So is all their MP plus materia. So now they're getting up plus 20% to their HP and MP. So they have quite a bit of both. Like, yeah, I mean 3,000 HP is nothing to scoff at all. We're also at levels that, like I said, in Final Fantasy V, this is like end game levels, like level like early 40s. Same with Final Fantasy VI. This is like the level, end game levels in this game are more like mid 60s, so that's a little different. Anyways, we're back to this stuff. Just the climbing. It's not super interesting, you know. Not a lot to really talk about in this part because just not a lot of story stuff is happening, and I've already kind of talked about the game mechanics and how this game plays. You know that at this point. Materia system, you know, overworld map, pre-rendered backgrounds, all that stuff. Lack of analog control, except the re-releases kind of have it, but it's still 8-directional movement, and it's weird, but oh well. Here I am struggling to climb. One thing that's a little annoying, it's a very minor thing once again, and I know I do a lot of complaining, because this game is flawed, but it doesn't take away from the fact that this is my favorite Final Fantasy, and I love this game to death. The climbing speed is a little slow. Another reason the speed up feature is very nice in the re-releases, if you play, basically, even if, you know, they didn't upscale the backgrounds and stuff, the re-releases on PS4, Xbox One, and Switch are the best versions of this game to play. They fixed the music bug in all 3 versions now, so it's not, you know, irritating. The music doesn't reset after every battle. The upscaled character models are nice, they look less jaggy, and the speed up feature is very nice. But don't use the other 2 features. They give you a battle boost that automatically refills health and limit completely. That's cheating. Don't do that. And they also give an option to eliminate all random encounters, and that's also kind of cheating, because, you know, if you suck and are really hurt, just suffer. You're gonna die. You messed up, you know, and that kind of takes out the punishment of messing up, to me anyway. But you know, I'm not gonna tell you how to play the game. You bought it. Just for me, I kind of consider that cheating, and I don't think you can really say, oh, I beat Final Fantasy VII if you just spammed limit breaks the whole time with that cheat. Speeding up doesn't affect the gameplay at all. It just speeds it up to get a move on. So I don't really see the issue with that. It's super nice, actually, you know, for the slower segments. And if you're just getting annoyed with a battle and want it to be done faster, you know, you can just mash straight through it. And I am saving Cloud's limit break for a boss that's about to come up that we are just going to massacre. This boss, actually, I remember my first playthrough because I didn't know about the grinding trick in Junon, so I was actually a much lower level than this. I was probably more around like late 30s, and I didn't have all the HP plus materials and stuff, or a lot of enemy skills. So I remember this boss here giving me a really hard time in my first playthrough of this game. It really kicked my ass. In fact, a lot of things started kicking my ass at this point in my first playthrough because I just didn't fully understand how the game worked and didn't realize the value of enemy skills or the HP and MP plus materials. So yeah, we were at this point, a lot of stuff started kicking my ass my first playthrough. And this game is not hard if you know how to approach it. It's not a hard game at all. And here I am I'm letting limit breaks rip. Just try to get some, you know, good damage right off the bat. There we go. Beautiful. Mwah. Beautiful. If you could tell, you know, this video only has like 4 minutes left. This boss fight doesn't take very long. Oh. 4,000 damage. Good shit. And Barret has the fire armlet on now, so now anytime I hit him with fire attacks, it's just gonna heal him. Now we have big guard, so now we're hasted and protected from all attacks. So basically, we won. And also, Barret now got the restore material leveled up, which means that we now have regen, which regen will constantly restore HP after every time you get hit and lasts for a while. And if you use that on the whole party, like, it's a really good way. It just auto heals them, basically. Which is super nice, so then you kind of don't have to worry about healing as much unless they're in a super emergency, but so then you can focus on just all-out offense. So typically a lot of times in hard fights, or like later fights in this game, I'll just cast regen first thing. Just be like, regen, and then I can focus mainly on offense, like regen, big guard, and that's my setup for the rest of the game. You know, if for like defensive setup anyway, regen and big guard, like buffing and debuffing, that's all you need. It hastes, protects, shield or shells, and, you know, heals the entire party. So good shit. We're just massacring this thing. It doesn't stand a chance. Like, it's hardly made a dent on us. Here I'm casting regen just to show it off. Yeah, as you can see, it's slowly restoring their health over time. So it's basically, like I said, auto heal, and it lasts for a while. It's, instead of it being just one big heal, it's healing a lot over time. Regen's really good, and that attack is healing Yuffie. Yeah, this boss fight doesn't stand a chance. One of its heads is dead. This boss fight can be a little irritating if you don't have the the right setups for it or anything like that. But we're just massacring it. It doesn't stand a chance. I'm just going all out physical now. It's almost dead. Barret's got a limit break. That's great. Good for you, Barret. Proud of you, buddy. It's trying its best. It's like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And I believe that's it. Yep, that's it. It's gonna do one last counter attack, like desperation attack, before it dies to try to kill us. Doesn't do fucking anything. Beautiful. Dead. Bye. And now, yeah, there you go. And now I'm going to go back to the last save point and save. And then that'll be it for this part. So yeah. Here I am trying to get into another battle. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. The next part will be a much bigger story part. So look forward to that. It will probably also be a much longer part too. So look forward to that. And I will see you guys next time for more Final Fantasy VII.